Wake up, goddammit!
Hey, gang. Tuesday, I think. Yeah. God, the days are running together. Another rough night with Matrix. His regurgitation is starting to, it's starting to get really bad. He threw up a couple times. And so that's going to be a trip to the vet. Good morning, everybody. This is Up the Middle. Today, we're going to be talking about anti-Semitism, anti-Jew versus anti-Israel. Like, you have no problem with the Jewish community. It's Netanyahu that you get the issue with. And I think that's what a lot of people are saying based on some of the rallies, demonstrations, and protests happening worldwide because of not only Netanyahu, but Trump. And many more people using the word fascists. Fascist or fascists, plural, or singular if talking to Donnie. So we'll talk about that today. We'll lead off with, well, actually, no, we're not leading off with that. We got something else. We actually got to finish something from last week. But also today, sometime around the second hour, we'll talk about working hard versus working smart. Not quite political, but definitely something educational, inspirational, informative. I've been studying or following or watching their videos. Alex Hormozi is this Syrian, I think, American, since his early 20s, been a meathead, weightlifter. Very serious about it, very good at it. Gets into, I want to own my own gym. He does it, and a mentor of his tells him he should not be owning a gym, which, of course, for somebody like that, broke his heart. But the mentor was really saying that he should be helping others open gyms. And before he was 30 years old, he was a multimillionaire. Some bad decisions, some stupid mistakes. He lost it all and gained it back. And he's been telling the world ever since how he did it. Gary Vaynerchuk, similar story from New Jersey. As a kid, watched his dad operate a wine store, liquor store, maybe a combination, not sure, but definitely wine. Was making beaucoup bucks as a teenager, operating a kiosk in the middle of the mall. Went to making whatever it was an hour that dad was paying when he became old enough to sell liquor or alcohol. Visibility restricted. Why? No, it doesn't. I don't know what it is with TikTok, but I don't even get started, and I get dinged for not create. Believe me, this show is original. And this is why when a real government comes back to power in this country, TikTok is going to go away. Mark my words. I've been right about everything else, with one exception, and we all know what that was. Anyway, Gary Vaynerchuk, same thing, comes of age, and now is able to sell alcohol and takes a huge pay cut to help out the family business, only to turn the family business around and make it and so many other family businesses like Vaynerchuk Media that he and his brother have to each be multi-million-dollar businesses. We'll talk today about what both of them say about working hard versus working smart. In the past couple of weeks, Ben Shapiro's been opening his mouth, as only he can do. Well, actually, we got Benny Boy Johnson, who does it rather well, too. Not that anything either of them say are all that intelligent, but I digress. Ben Shapiro's been picking a fight with comedian Bill Burr. Was it a slow news day, Ben? That you have to call somebody in the entertainment industry who is probably mathematically, statistically, stereotypically going to be a bit more liberal? Was it a slow news day that you had to call him woke and pick that fight? Only to have Bill shut you up in a heartbeat. We'll take a look at that. And others like Ben Shapiro picking similar fights. Tune in tomorrow for the part 2 of today's anti versus anti. For pro versus pro, tomorrow we're going to take a look at pro-Palestine versus pro-Hamas. Now, what's the difference? Is there one? Sportcat's going to be following me in about 2 hours from now. Don't forget to like, bookmark, subscribe, share, download the Tone Tip app. I will actually be having some Tone Tips set up for later today for links and things like that. But first up, I need to finish something. I was editing last night, And there was a pretty good thing I did about anxiety last week and how mine was actually pretty active. And that's when the electric company showed up at the door. I don't know what the hell it is. I can't find. I scheduled a live room for today, for right now, on Chatter, one of the apps that I had been using off and on, trying to get back to it and support them. I like what they're doing. They don't have a calendar function, so that when you schedule an app, it shows up somewhere. And I would like to be on there right now too, but I don't have time to sit here and reschedule or start again. We're ready to go. However, we are now on 2. What is the thing? What is it when you have that stupid check mark on Twitter? I actually broke down and paid for a second account. It's the one that we do the Twitter Spaces on, the audio only version of the show. We broadcast the video to one of my other. We got some people watching there. I got to see what's happening with Rumble. I usually get a crowd there too, and that's been dead this week. I might have to go back and reconnect there. But let's see. DLive is streaming. Twitch is streaming. Instagram is streaming. Telegram is streaming. Oh, I got to send that alert too. You can watch this on Telegram. I don't even know what the group. I set it up so long ago. I don't even know where it is. There we go. And I just say we're live. Boom. Like if you follow this group that I have on Telegram for Yerg's Radio, it's back. That was back when that was the only station we had. And actually right now we're back to being the only station that we got. I'll tell you about that a little bit too. Now Telegram took a shit. I just sent that to everybody telling them that we're live. And the Telegram feed goes bad. And the Telegram feed. Oh, no. Goes bad. No, it's there. Well, we're on Telegram. Let me know if you want to join that way. It says we're streaming to Rumble. Okay. I mean, I can't. You just heard the loop. I can't be constantly checking Facebook. We only stream to one Facebook account. That's my personal account because I've got like almost 5,000 followers there. It's kind of important to reach out to them. But all of the other pages, every other page, has the Twitch feed on it. So that's kind of clever. And then the up the middle Twitter account, Yerg's Up Middle, is the actual handle. But it's for up the middle. And now my private account, Yerg's YERGZZ. Michael Yerger had the other one, had with one Z. You might remember him from Survivor. Yeah, Survivor. 1-888-88 Yergs, 844 gay LGBT. If you have an opinion on being anti-Jew versus anti-Israel. But first, like I said last week, I started out talking about, for whatever reason, and I couldn't for the life of me figure it out, but my anxiety was through the roof. Like I couldn't just sit down and chill out. There was nothing wrong. I was fine. I just couldn't relax. And we get on the air, start talking about it. And I went into the lead story of the day, which was the Secret Service agent. Nobody knows his name yet. And granted, I'm not as connected anymore, being retired. But somebody's got to. And we're suspecting it was a newbie because this was stupidly egregious. He's out of Dallas. And we talked about this already. And it's been in the news, so I'm not going to go too far into it. But he's out of Dallas. And he wants to, he's been assigned to the trip to Scotland. So he's going to take a commercial flight from Dallas to DC, where he's probably going to get, if they do it the same way back when I was in, he's going to leave the next day out of DC. So he's going to get a hotel out by Andrews Air Force Base. Not cool, not fun. He's not spending the night in downtown DC. He's 20 minutes outside the city. And he's really probably not going to have a lot of time anyway. Maybe some do it, but that's a good way to get in hot water. And I guess in preparation for the trip, he saw the opportunity. And so he asks his boss if he can take his wife along. Not just fly her on their dime to Scotland, but fly on the government's dime on the cargo plane that carries the motorcade and the helicopters across the Atlantic Ocean to another country. Now, I guess because she is enlisted in the Air Force, he thought it was a little bit more doable because, after all, it's an Air Force plane. What's one more seat in a jump seat in a web? It's like a chaise lounge that's all along the whole sides of the wall. And people don't even sit in them anyway because they take their sleeping bags, unroll their sleeping bags on the floor, and sleep. He was told no. Flies the Air Force employed wife across the country, or halfway across the country, I guess, on their own dime to DC, and gets her on base, which she can do by herself, but gets her on base and into the Distinguished Visitors Lounge. Anyway, now think of a commercial airport that you're likely more familiar with. There's the gate area, as you know it, where you show the gate agent your boarding pass, go down the chute, and onto the plane. There's many of them throughout a commercial airport. There's one at Andrews Air Force Base. To show you who flies in and out of there, think of the first class lounge that any major airline might have in an airport for the VIP, frequent flyer, those folks. Think of that lounge and think of who would be there in a lounge similar to that at a major military airbase. Generals, other high-ranking brass, etc. Well, that's where she gets into, the wifey gets into, sits through the briefing, something she is not entitled to hear, because she's not a part of the security plan. It's basic need to know. Sits through the briefing before it's realized who she is, what she's trying to do, who she's connected with, and what that person was already told not to do. And I was telling you about a trip when we had the knock at the door last week. I was telling you about a trip that I had to give you an idea what some of these are like. I was in the San Francisco field office, and like this kid, we flew commercially across the country to join up with other agents to get on this car plane for us to go to the South Pacific. I was going with George W. to various stops in the South Pacific, our first being Manila in the Philippines. And we get to DC. It's one of the older types of car planes, the really big one, and they're falling apart. So we get to DC, and that happens. And so we're delayed in DC a couple of days. We're just sitting there all day. We finally get on a plane. We're flying across the country. We're heading to the Pacific. When something breaks down mid-flight, we're going to land at Travis Air Force Base in California. It's about half a week into the trip. And I'm an hour and a half drive from home. We're delayed at Travis. And it got to a point where we were now becoming so far delayed that if we did not leave when we did, which was the absolute last moment possible, we would get to Manila, get off the plane, and go on post because the president would be right behind us. And I'm telling you that because the logistics that happen for things like that. We were supposed to make another stop before Manila. It was on the island of Guam to refuel. But because of the necessity of the schedule, the Air Force was able to make a change and had us refuel mid-flight. And this kid thinks that it's okay for wifey to steal a free ride. They didn't say if they offered to pay for the seat. Just that, being that she's in the Air Force and they fly Air Force personnel on these things too. There are some times when Air Force people fly with us because that's where they're going. And they tried it anyway. When you think of all the things through your career that you would love a chance to do differently, to do better, to do over, I know damn well nothing like that was one of them. But anyway, shout out today to another superfan Uncle Sal, turned 74 today up in Reading, Pennsylvania, or maybe St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands. I know he's there quite a bit too. Happy birthday, Uncle Sal. I know he's a conservative, good dude. I think he was a Trump supporter by default. I know he's not a Trump supporter anymore. He's just too good of a guy. Anyway, happy birthday, Uncle Sal, turning 74. I don't think I've told stories about our trips to St. Thomas. Yeah, I met Sal when I was driving for a limo company and in the process of becoming a bodyguard. And they had a driver came to me who was sick and said he couldn't take this ride tomorrow. Can you drive this guy to New York? I barely knew where New York was on a map, let alone how to drive there. He says, well, don't worry. He knows how to get there. And I'm like, what? You want me to ask the client what directions we're taking? That's crazy. As was I. So I meet this guy and I get him lost in downtown because I have no idea where we were going. And it's New York City. In the lower downtown area, it's not your basic simple grid like the avenues and the streets in Midtown. And so we got there eventually. Anyway, he, very prominent executive is all I'm going to say about that, and has timeshare space at a 5-star hotel in the Caribbean. I would wind up driving him many times after that, so much so that he would eventually hire me away from the limo company to just drive him. But one of the earlier conversations that we were able to have in between him working from the backseat of the car was that I noticed that his oldest son went to a private school for high school, a boarding school. The same boarding school that both of my kid brothers went to. And in fact, my baby brother was at that school at the same time. Turns out they kind of knew of each other. But that was really it at the time until his son came to my brother and said, hey, your brother drives my dad. They wind up being best friends and visit each other while they're all in college, where my brother meets a friend of Uncle Sal's son and winds up marrying said friend some years later. All because of Uncle Sal. So happy birthday. Enjoy your day. And take the day off today, but tune in tomorrow. Okay, so anti-Jew versus anti-Israel. And I know, you should be politically correct and say anti-Semite, anti-Semitical, and no, anti-Jew, anti the person, the Jew, the people who are taking the shit for what Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump have been up to. Look, I get, and we'll talk about Palestine and Hamas tomorrow. I get that what Hamas did, and what is it now, October, coming up on 2 or 3 years ago. But what Hamas did in that attack was not okay. There was no level to which you can excuse the attack orchestrated the way it was, and hang gliders or ultralights to get over the walls. And the attack on innocent civilians was not what you do if you are a legitimate government like Hamas is claiming to be. So I get that that was not okay. That's not acceptable at all, ever. But if you are the biblical people that you claim to be, and you engage in an eye for an eye, then you need to know when to stop. You also need to be able to differentiate easily, because this is not that hard. You need to be able to differentiate between the ground balls that are right versus wrong. Such as leading Palestinian people who have been driven from home, who are essentially homeless and out in the weather, leading them to whatever a semblance there is of food, and then shooting them and stabbing them while they're trying to get basic flour to make bread and whatever other simple foods they can make from that to feed the hungry people, many of whom have died from starvation. Do you have any idea what that's going to be like? I'm getting hungry now, and it's making me bitchy. And I'm going to be sitting here for another hour and a half. Can you imagine what it's like to go days without food? Only to get the chance to get some of the bare products from which you can make food and be shot while peacefully trying to accept that gift. So tell me again how Benjamin Netanyahu, the guy who knows this is happening, don't tell me he doesn't. Right now on the desktop of one of my monitors is a picture of Hillary Clinton and me in like the White House equivalent of the Oval Office. It's not her office. It's a meeting room. It's like a living room. We're in front of a fireplace. There's chairs on each side and nice little engagement area. And I have what's called a departure photo. It's when I left her detail, and you get a picture with each other, and something to remember your time there by. I stood outside the door of her office and of the car, or driving the car, in some of the very specific, highly sensitive conversations that her job requires her to take part in. No, she had nothing to do with some bullshit story called Pizzagate. I was on her detail during that time. I promise you, there was no time to be stopping at Georgetown or whatever, wherever, pizza parlors to traffic young children. I mean, think about that. Does that make sense? Do you think that's what she's going to do? But I know what types of conversations her job requires her to have. I promise you, Benjamin Netanyahu knows exactly what is going on in Gaza. So when people talk about being anti-Israel, it has nothing to do with their faith, because there's Christians in Israel too. No, there's not as many. That's why Israel was formed as a safe haven for people who, right up until that time, the Holocaust, were incredibly, heavily, and unjustly persecuted. So, yes, I do support Israel as a Jewish state and the Jewish community that is trying to safely live there. But when you have asshats like Netanyahu and Trump getting together and talking about how they're going to make Gaza beachfront property, when most of it's not even near a beach. Actually, I think Gaza is. It's the West Bank that's not. I think, yeah. No, I got to pull this up now because obviously that's going to bug the hell out of me. Yeah, there's a delay on my computer. And Gaza maps. Gaza is right on the water. Okay. I think it's the West Bank that's actually in eastern Israel. Yes. Up alongside of Amman, Jordan. I guess it's the West Bank of Jordan. I don't know, whatever. But Gaza in the southwestern corner of Israel, right on the Mediterranean by, let's see, what is that? Saudi Arabia. I think that's Saudi Arabia right there. Or is that still Egypt? Like the Sinai Peninsula and yeah, I think that's actually anyway. Yeah. So Trump and Netanyahu saying how they're going to make Gaza beachfront property and put hotels up there. Like, really? That's your priority? But the fact that Netanyahu, let's pull this up. Oh, there's that one. I've always wondered this too, actually. Why is Netanyahu called Bibi? The word Bibi, which made its way into the Pashto and Urdu language, was originally borrowed from classical Persian. It was translated as grandma, chiefly in Pashto, Dari, and Tajik. Besides, this was also used as a respectful title to address senior women. Meh. Okay, so the other definition, and I think this is probably why he chose to use this, in Latin, it is a short form of Bibiana, meaning lively. In Arabic, again, it means lady. And in Spain, it's a form of Bibi, B-E-B-E, like the clothing. It may also be derived from the Hebrew Gabra. This is Netanyahu. It may also be derived from the Hebrew Gabra, meaning hero, which is the root of the biblical name Gabriel, referring to the archangel. Oh, Benny. And also, apparently, somebody else in Reddit is saying that it comes from the name Binyamin, Binyamin, which we know as Benjamin, and it is short for that. So, multiple. I like the cross-dressing idea. But my actual question when this popped up was, why is Netanyahu a war criminal? In the International Criminal Court, this was back just last year. Hungary is calling for the arrest and surrender of Netanyahu to the International Criminal Court, which had issued warrants for Netanyahu. So this, according to PBS, which, as best I know, is still operational. I don't think he's going to care too much, but here's a 5 minutes. I don't know that I want to go that far, but let's if you hear like a hacking sound in the background, that's probably my dog. Well, it is my dog. He's been sick, and like I said, he threw up a couple of times last night. He's been better now. I just want to see the poor kid sleep. All right. Let's learn why Bibi is a war criminal.
Today, the world's top war crimes court issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant for what the court called crimes against humanity for intentionally depriving Gazans of food and directing attacks against civilians. Israel today called it an anti-Semitic attack on democracies trying to defend themselves from terrorism. Here's Nick Schifrin with more.
Okay, look at that. Is that defending yourself against terrorism? That is an entire city block that has been leveled. I think you defended yourself against terrorism. Tell the people, drop leaflets like we did during World War II and like we did during the Cold War. Drop leaflets saying, hey, maybe Hamas ain't a good thing to lead you into the future. Think about it. We'll be back. And you're done.
In the moonscape that is now northern Gaza, in the desperation of Gazan civilians, lacking the basic necessities of life, or what the International Criminal Court today called Israeli crimes against humanity for having, quote, intentionally and knowingly deprived the civilian population in Gaza of objects indispensable to their survival, including food, water, and medicine, and, quote, intentionally directing attacks against the civilian population of Gaza, as ICC prosecutor Karim Khan argued on the NewsHour in September.
Even war has rules, and yet we're seeing baby after baby destroyed. People in Gaza who want to have food and water, who want to stop waking up in terror as bombs land and the earth shakes and no place is safe, it seems, including schools.
Today, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called Khan a corrupt prosecutor and the ICC judges biased.
Oh, gee. I wonder who told him to say that. Where would he get such a defense? What was his defense, actually? I mean, you saw the streets. I'm pretty sure that wasn't a military installation.
This is an anti-Semitic act that has one goal: to deter me, to deter us from exercising our natural right to defend ourselves against our enemies who rise up against us to destroy us.
This is propaganda. You're not talking about a defense. You're talking about legitimizing what you've done. That's it. What do I usually say, Superfan Ken? What do I always say? It's not that hard. When you talk about the number of deaths that the Jewish community within Israel has suffered, not to be excused, by the way, each and every one equally as illegal and inappropriate. But even an eye for an eye, meaning to go after the Palestinian civilian population, if you are, in fact, a righteous people, then you need to be held and to hold yourselves to a higher standard. Now, I know I can't ask you if that's what Jesus would do. I get it. Not the correct comeback line there. However, is that what God would want you to do? Or David or Abraham? David fought the giant, not the people that he was supposed to be protecting. Yeah, I'm going to wrap this up because we're out of time, and I think I've made my points. When you've got people like Bernie Sanders, I mean, Hassan Abi and the Young Turks, they're Turkish. They're more geared as Palestinians culturally, ethnically. So I think you would expect them to be more pro-Palestinian. But when you get people like David Pakman, Brian Tyler Cohen, Bernie Sanders, are you recognizing sort of a ring to those three names? That perhaps, like Israel, they too are Jewish. And when they're saying, slow down, enough is enough, you don't represent all of us, maybe we should listen to that. At least consider it. Or maybe you should, BB. And realize there's going to be someday a two-state solution. Now, I know Ben Shapiro is going to get his panties in a bunch about that comment because he did a whole thing on how Philistines, I think he said that they're not even real people. I think that was his comment. That they don't have any claim to that land. Come on, dude. It's the Middle East. The entire Bible was written there. I don't know anybody who doesn't have claim to the Middle East. To include Africans who started in Egypt, among other places. So, and yeah, Egypt isn't really the Middle East. It's okay. You know what? It is a Muslim country right next door. And if Moses and his people can get out of Egypt and back to their lands in the Middle East, With the car planes that we got today, I promise you we can do it too. I got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into hour number 2 and talk about working hard versus working smart. This is Up the Middle on the Mastiff Media Network. We'll be back after these words, I think. There we go. What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym. Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training. A dedicated area for stretching. Dunk tanks. Sauna. Everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off. You can scream. You can yell. And you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum at Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Dope. Hey gang, my name's Jurgs. I'm the CEO of the Yerger Group and Mastiff Media. We're partnering with Dare Media of Australia and are looking for new content. Do you have a podcast or maybe a live stream? Does it have a positive message? Is it about sports? Is it political? Is it news coverage? Is it for the LGBT community? Or is it even music? Don't forget, we're partnering with Dare Media of Australia. So not only could your program be heard on our stations here in the United States, but also in Australia. So if that's you, send us an email on air at yergsradio.com. That's on air at yergsradio.com. The yergs.radio URL does not have email. On air at yergsradio.com. And let's get you on air. Seamless communications. I got to get some music here. There we go. Seamless communications. We got them. Toll-free phone numbers, vanity numbers. They're floating across your screen right now. 1-888-88-YERGS and 844-GAY-LGBT. I got to sit up. And this is that lower third. It's like my chin. Seamless Communications is our phone company here at Mastiff Media. We can send each other text messages. We can send you text messages. Each of our jocks has their own individual phone line. When they come on the air, we change these numbers forward to them instead of me. Although I think I got to actually get SportCat up to date. We left Ring Central last year, as you might remember, for a more efficient, much cheaper, much better customer service, all around better deal. And you can get their phone system too. Scan the QR code on your screen or go to its Seamless Dash Communications, I believe. Yes, Seamless, SEAMLESS. Count that down a little bit. Seamless-communications.com. Get your company's phone system up and running today. by going to seamless-communications.com. Tell Dar that Yergs sent you. Say it that way. Dar Palmer from Seamless Communications, seamless-communications.com. All right. So working hard versus working smart. Alex Hormozi is one of the guys I've been telling you about. And he tells you to do both, actually. And I've been. And both Alex and Gary V will tell you that whenever you want to quit, which I never really, this has been a struggle getting these radio stations operational and then doing a show 5 days a week. It's work. And I'm grateful that I'm on a pension and that my son has grown and out of the house. I wish he still lived here, actually. And that's what I'm trying to do with this house in the rebuild, so that he and his girlfriend and maybe someday his kids have their own space. And I'm trying to cut back on coffee too, because I need to cut back on the sugar. I switched to, I kept saying Gatorade. I switched to Kool-Aid instead of soda, so I could control the amount of sugar in my daily intake. That didn't work. All I did was drink more Kool-Aid. So now I'm doing the sugar-free iced teas and the shakers and protein shakes. If I'm here long enough and I finish that coffee, we'll take another break and I'll go make a protein shake. This TikTok is pissing me off. It says there's been inactivity. I'm live. I'm here. God. Anyway, Alex says to work hard and smart. And I was just sharing one of his lessons with the folks at Dare Media. I started Yerg's Radio. And when I started some of the other stations that are now back off the air and into development again, it was because I felt, and I didn't realize this at the time, but it was because that I felt a certain stag, a certain plateau in the development of Yerg's Radio, that I wanted to go back to seeing the progress that I saw earlier in the development of Yerg's Radio. So I started the other stations, when I should have asked myself before starting the other stations, was Yerg's Radio 24/7? Actually, yes, it was. It still is. It doesn't have near the programming right now because we cut a lot of the less than popular shows. Speaking of which, if you have a podcast, bring it to mastiff.media. Anyway, that'll be the ad spot in the next hour. Actually, no, that was one of the two I just did. Yeah. So we're looking for podcasts for all of our stations, all 6. And we're looking for live radio shows particularly. We just realize the obvious, and that is that they will be lesser in quantity and probably lesser in quality, just because everybody has been into the podcasting thing. And it's just going to be easier to share your episodes and still plug where your podcast actually lives so people can leave Yerg's Radio and go to you there. We're fine with that because we rotate these in and out. Also, we also encourage you, the podcaster, to become a broadcaster. David Beckmeyer has the Outrage Overload podcast. It plays throughout the week on Yerg's Radio. He and his wife also put together a live show every Sunday evening, 7:30 Eastern, where they talk about the news. A little bit lighter, lighthearted, less serious, but still their honest commentary. And that is live Sundays on Yerg's Radio. But were we monetized yet? And my translation from what Alex is sharing before I start another station, I should have had Yerg's Radio, and it was very close. I just didn't want to monetize, ask people for money for a station that just because we were 24/7 doesn't mean we really had an audience built that these companies would be not wasting their money. Dar Palmer from Seamless Communications, we were talking about this, and I told him I'm going to be coming to him for ad spots, and he's interested in it. But he was also, since then, in our recent conversation, he was complaining about radio advertising that he did do here in the Tampa Bay area, and how he got nothing from it, and how he paid a pretty penny. Well, I think you're still having the issue with radio. Did he go, and I'm not going to say which station it was, but did he go to the stations where his clients are? Not other people like him, but the small to medium-sized businesses that are actually looking for phone service. Not only that, I don't know of any advertising or marketing plan that brings business immediately. And I've researched that, believe me. In fact, that's one of the stories Alex tells. When he was starting his gym, he was told to put flyers out on cars and parking lots. And nothing happened. Nobody came. And so he goes back to his mentor and says, "This sucks. I did all this work and nobody's showing up." The mentor says, "Well, okay, what was your test lot? The size, the amount of ads that you put out each day?" And what they said. This is what I did, 300. Something like that, 300, 500, 300, something like that. And the mentor says, we'll say it was 300. The mentor says, 300, like there's more after that, like 300,000. And Alex was just like, "No, I did 300. The mentor says, "I do 5,000. And then tomorrow, I do another 5,000. And Alex is like, "Oh." Fast forward to what I already have sitting in the front seat of my car are the flyers that I put together to hang in things like coffee shops, maybe gyms, grocery stores, places that don't seem to have cork boards hanging anymore. And we've put that on hold because I'm not going to drive around the community all day trying to find places to hang this thing and to turning out to be nothing more than litter. I'm not going to do that. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. So they're sitting in the front seat of my car with an old pill bottle of whatever meds I was on at the time that's now empty and filled with thumbtacks. So I can use my own thumbtack to tack it to a wall in, I don't know, or a corkboard, where they belong. At like some community coffee shop or wherever. I just don't see people doing that anymore. I got the idea from our friends at Dare Media that's what they did in Australia. And actually, because of the locations they put these, their listenership grew rather progressively, rather well. I'm in rural Florida. Every coffee shop here has a drive-through. And none of the local bars give a shit. So we're working on it. I do have a nice trifold that I've developed. See? Still working hard, but also working smarter. Something that when I go to some of the festivals that are being held over the summer, I can hand them out to people in passing. I can leave them sitting at the front desk at my gym, who, by the way, gets plenty of advertising on Yerg's radio in lieu of giving me a gym membership. I can continue to work smart. Now, just want to take a moment to share with you Alex telling you that very same thing. First of all, let's buzz through some comments here. Wow. Good Lord. Superfan Ken saying, good morning, Mastiff Gang. TikTok must go away, but I'm sure there'll be something else out there. I don't care if it goes away or not. What I care about is the fact that back in January, when it was about to go away, they asked all of us creators. I didn't have as many followers as was necessary, so they eliminated that requirement. And they asked many of us creators to join up and develop support. And so we did. Trump gets inaugurated, says he's not going to force TikTok to leave, even though it's known to be owned by the Chinese Communist Party. And we're good. Now they didn't need us anymore. And for 5 months or so, we got kicked off. And for whatever reason, they opened it back up. I'm on. I can see myself broadcasting, whatever. Yet I have 2 accounts from Twitter that are verified. I don't know what the verification process is. All I did was pay $50. I think the first was full price. It was like $80 for a year. And I just did the second one today because it was 30% off. So yeah, why not? Ken's also saying the Facebook account isn't still linked to your comment to appear where you can see them, by the way. You know, I think we're probably going to be losing the comment feature anyway altogether, because the new streaming service that has replaced ReliaStream is the dashboard company that ReliaStream used. I basically cut out the middleman. That company also has a video service that I'm learning, which means we're going to be eliminating ReliaStream, which gives us the texting service that integrates the various platforms. You may have to go to mastiff.media if you want to watch and text. I don't know how that's going to work yet. I don't know. But Restream is also on the way out. What else we got here today? Superfan Ken says, with that Secret Service agent wife, I wonder at what point did she get caught? She was in the Distinguished Visitor Lounge. They were having a briefing before getting on the plane. And according to news reports, she was in the briefing. Did you have a nickname? A Secret Service question from Superfan Ken. Did you have a nickname in your time as an agent? Yergs. I've had that since 8th grade. I think we're... Oh, wait a minute. Superfan Ken, they're doing evil starvation tactics. Yeah, this is regards with Israel. And this should be outlawed. It is. There's nothing legal about starving a population. BE is the clothing store and is Spanish. And you're correct. The Israeli spelling of Netanyahu's nickname is B-I-B-I. Yeah, so Ken's also saying that it's his childhood nickname. I get that's where, what did we call it? Benjamin? The actual Yiddish or Hebrew spelling of the name Benjamin is where BB likely came from, yeah. So don't make that assumption. When there's a lot to names and why people change their names to something else. So yeah, Ken's saying there's no special meaning behind the name. Don't make that assumption. That could be correct. That could be the bullshit story that BB's putting out there, but that doesn't mean it's true. Yeah, it's not that hard. You know what else isn't hard? That's right. Liking, subscribing, sharing, bookmarking, telling a friend, having a conversation. Excellent point. Water, and now I'm getting shit for having Kool-Aid. Yeah. Ken saying water may be better than coffee or Kool-Aid. Just saying, yeah, I know. That's why coffee is called an addiction. And Neil Thompson said, in Mosey we trust. Okay. I feel thumbtack. You can try mom and pop shops and give them a few flyers and tell them to hand out themselves. Yeah, I'm not going to do that with the flyers. I'm going to hang them. I've got the trifold that I'm going to have printed as well. And that also better incorporates the folks in Australia. Yeah, festivals are people passing out a lot of things. Yeah, there's some of the others, like the banks and such, give you this like little shitty gear bag. I'm not on a budget like that yet. You know, I'm still contemplating $250 for a couple of straws, reusable steel straws. All right, so back to Alex. Oh, come on. I want to actually play this, but I don't know that it's...
There's a lot of like work smarter, not harder, especially...
Hold on. Back this up and share the screen too. Ken's asking if I got the straws. I did not get the straws yet. I'm doing it smart. Oh, I gotcha. Neil Thompson saying Mosey. Yeah, Alex is a bright guy. Mosey is short for Alex Hormozy. I didn't catch that. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, Alex is a bright guy, and when he was told not to operate a gym, but instead to teach people to operate a gym, that was life-changing for him. And let's see if we can expand there. Oh, wow. Yeah, that doesn't work, does it?
There's a lot of like work smarter, not harder, especially in like the Twitter sphere. It's easy to say work smarter, not harder, but the problem is in order to get smarter, you have to work hard. So it's like you have to work hard to get smart in order to then work smarter, not harder. So like you really can't avoid the hard work part. You get there one way or another.
Yeah, and 100%. But what he also shows you is what I've done with developing Yerg's Radio and all of Mastiff Media. There's a plan. I'm going to show you that plan as well. Might as well do that now. It's not just me sitting here in a chair talking into a microphone. I've shown you guys this before, but as I take the camera, and for those on the radio, still do play-by-play, over there, that's a tripod with another camera that we're using to film a documentary on starting radio stations. There's two of the widescreen that I use. And here's the other two 28-inch 16:9 screens that I use. That's just for during a show. I also sit here and work all day. So over here, that's my schedule for today. 8/5 Tuesday. Right now we're at 11 a.m. and up the middle. At 1 p.m. we're going to have lunch and do a dog walk with the pups. Hopefully Matrix is going to be... I haven't heard him gagging at all. So hopefully he's getting some good rest. But that's, all the things I got to do today, with the last thing happening at 8:30 tonight. And for however long that goes. This is the 2 hours of today's show. Intro, anxiety, U.S. Secret Service story, super van Uncle Sal, anti-Jew versus anti-Israel, and just some quick notes that I have. Right now we're working hard versus working smart. We'll talk about Bill Burr and Ben Shapiro. Again, for those of you on the radio, those were whiteboards that are dry erase boards that I have all those notes on. So that is tonight at 10:30. An alarm's going to go off, reminding me to set my schedule for tomorrow. I'll clean this schedule, dry erase board, and first take a look at it and say, were there things on here that I still need to complete? Because like making the switch to Media CP, that's going to be a process. When I start that today at 4 and do it for an hour, I'm not going to be finished at 5 o'clock. We're not going to have the 5 other radio stations up and running and filled with content for 24 hours. But we'll be steps further. So I'll know on a third dry erase board that's sitting over there on the kitchen counter, that's one of the things I need to take a look at today and tomorrow until I know that it's at least into a rhythm. It's never going to be finished. I'm going to be dead. And if Yerg's Radio lives beyond that, the new station manager and program director and whoever else, hopefully maybe my son or his kids, are going to be making changes and keeping it current and relevant and useful to a community. maybe by then Trump will be a king and we won't be allowed to talk politics anymore. Kind of what we're moving to already. So that was one of Alex. Another work smarter, not harder.
Andy Groves says there are so many people working so hard and achieving so little. And that's the lack of correlation between inputs and outcomes.
The vast majority of business owners work a fair amount. They just work on the wrong stuff and they do it the wrong way. And so they get so little for their effort that they wonder when they're at home empty-handed in bed, why isn't this working when I am working? But if you define work, at least the way I do, which is output, and in order to get output, it's volume times leverage. So how many times you do the thing times how much you get for each time you do it. And so that is do you work smart or do you work hard? It's you do both. You do as many reps as you possibly can. You do it with the most leverage possible. So if I make 100 phone calls, the leverage that I can have there would be how skilled I am. So if I make 100 calls, I might get 10 times more. And so I worked more. I had more output than somebody who has less skill. But the only way you get skilled is by doing more inputs, by working more. And so it's this virtuous cycle of doing more and getting better. And then you get more for what you do.
And there you go. What am I leveraging? Well, I've got some good people with me already that I can spend today at that 4 o'clock hour, putting their content from old Yerg's Radio onto new Yerg's Radio. And off we go. So I had to correct my knuckles. And then it's going to be time for dinner. More so for the dogs than for me. Today, I'm going to the gym. Rip, shit, or bust. Even if I just walk on the treadmill, I'm getting out of the house if Matrix is okay. And I'm going to the gym. And then tonight, the must-do board. I'm going to go through stuff on that. And at 8:30, I'm going to do some recording for ad spots. I got to send some stuff down to Dare Media in Australia. And put some, you need to hear something beyond just momentum, fitness, and wellness. Although that's not going to stop. I'm just going to do better with taking more breaks per hour and only the short break like we used to do. So let's see what this one is. This is from Instagram. Oh God. Oh, is this not this video has no sound? Doesn't look like it's a video. When you're poor, people tell you to work smart, not hard. And they're right. The only problem is you need to work hard to learn how to work smart. It's not either or. It's one then the other. Yeah, I can see that. I worked hard, made a lot of mistakes. I'm working more efficiently now. I got the schedule. I got the a process. I've got the leverage. I did pass out some of those signs at the farmer's market that's here every month, and got some listeners from that. Shout out to them, by the way. One more with Mosey. I'm going to call him that now, from TikTok.
You can work smarter, not harder, but you have to work hard in order to work smarter. When you start, you don't have leverage. And so you need to make up for that with just with effort. People overthink a lot. They think that they're being productive by thinking more about the business they want to start rather than just starting it. In the beginning, you need to think a lot less and do a lot more. And the more advanced you are, the more you need to think and less you need to do. It just flips over time.
And there you go. We've been saying it. Now, I think it's enough of him saying it to you. But here is also something else Well, there's work hard too. But he also talks a lot about work-life balance. And I think this is going to be very close and very relevant, very important. These I can open in new tabs. So let's do that. Here's Gary V.
When I hear people on social media say things like, I work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, I have great work-life balance. And you ask them, do you
these other
like your job? No. I don't like it at all. I'm like,
I'm going to pause that. So these.
I have friends who make $42,000 a year, work 9 to 4, but they're
I think we were lagging, so now we'll stop all of these and see if I can refresh this.
When I hear people on social media say things like, I work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, I have great work-life balance. And you ask them, do you like your job? No. I don't like it at all. I'm like, you don't have work-life balance. You have 40 hours a week, every week, that you hate. That's not balance, that's tolerance. My work is my joy. This is my hobby. I would rather be doing this right now than playing a round of golf, than watching a movie, than playing a video game. This, me and you right now.
Same
I
here.
love it. I enjoy it to no end. And I think that's the ultimate work-life balance. Work-life balance to me is happiness on all equations. When I hear people on social media say things like,
right,
I work 9 to 5.
Yeah, and that's key. I love what I'm doing here. I know it's not finished. I know it's never going to be finished. But one of the other things that Gary Vaynerchuk says, it's not the end result. That's the roses. It's not the process. That's the roses. It's everything. It's all of it is the roses, the joys of life. Gary again. I want to make sure that this was
Pumped. And
see if I can back that up. There we go.
I have friends who make $42,000 a year, work 9 to 4, but they're pumped. And they'll text me like how happy they are to be the coach of their kids' baseball team. And that's amazing. I'm actually weirdly envious. But I have friends who have $100 million in the bank who are still hungry, who want to do even more, who will complain to me because they know I work a lot about no work-life balance and they don't get to spend enough time with their family. And I'm like, you have $100 million. You could stay home. Like, you're in control. Don't complain about it. You've made that choice. You want to spend more time with your family? Spend more time with your family. I have friends who make $42,000 a year.
That's it. I get that too. I've seen people who don't have jobs or don't have careers. They have jobs. They don't necessarily love their job, but it is for them good money, and it is at a certain level of tolerance. But then what do? Like my parents. Dad didn't really have the greatest job as far as career, something that he enjoyed, until he was forced to get one and take a 50% pay cut in the process. We still played hockey. We still did all kinds of shit as kids. Because being a dad and a mom, my mom was the mom, to be clear, it's what they wanted to do. Now, mom, her extra jobs, because she had multiple jobs, she taught aerobics, she taught yoga, she taught different styles of aerobics. And so not only did that keep her fit, it was something she enjoyed. She got to take the exercise classes for free and actually be paid for it. That's cool. And was the team mom and scorekeeper for our Little League baseball games. That's working hard, but also working smart. Dad was forced when B.F. Goodrich, a tire company, that was in southeastern Pennsylvania at the time shut down. And he had to find another job. Found one working in industrial construction, like warehouses and things like that. But that also taught him how to build a house, which he still does to this day. He's not taking on any actual full house builds, but he's helped, keep this up to snuff until we learn what exactly is going to happen with it. One more from Gary V. I want to refresh this quick. Come on, where's that?
Family life, 2 small businesses, and a full-time job.
By not judging themselves. There is no such thing as work-life balance. Every family is different. What's work-life balance? Everyone has their own rules. Like I have friends that think work-life balance is 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Okay. Like I have other friends that think it's 9 to 7, Monday through Friday. I have other friends that think it's 9 to 9, Monday through Saturday. Okay. As long as the people in your circle are cool with it, there's a cost to everything. There's just real life circumstances.
How does one balance family life, 2 small businesses, and a full-time job?
By not
judging themselves. Yeah. The other thing I don't compare me to you. I do this for you to keep you informed, entertained, and so on. Like I've said before, when the moment comes that somebody can discuss politics from the perspective that I've got, from the experience that I've got, and the thorough evaluation that I give, I'm out. I'm going to go have better work-life balance. I'm going to have better quality radio stations where 10 hours a week just on the air, not even including the prep, can now be put to 10 hours a week of developing the stations. And on my jet skis, who are developing the stations from my jet skis. I'm out. I don't need to have a microphone in front of my face. But the more I see of the shit happening in this country that I said was going to happen 2 years ago when I started this show, more than 2 years ago now, I'm trying to get as much quality content as possible so that when we do monetize, I'm not going to take that money and put it in the gas tank of my jet ski. I'm going to take that money and put it into that to-do list over there. One of the items is ad spots for Sirius XM, Spotify, and Instagram and Facebook. Put out an ad campaign telling people about Mastiff Media. So I can do what? Bring more listeners. Just like he said about the guys with 100 million in the bank. I want more. I don't want more for me. The more listeners is more of an educated electorate, Thomas Jefferson. But it's also a better pull for people like Dar Palmer and Anthony from Momentum Fitness and Wellness, and even other people that I put together ad spots because I, patronized their business, and I'm throwing them some extra shout outs. Dirty Dogs Car Wash. Those listeners are for them. Not me. I don't sit at cocktail parties and say, I've got a couple thousand listeners every day from the various platforms that I'm on. I giggle when people try to critique me and say, oh, yeah, to all 3 of your listeners. Dude, that's one platform that we just started on. And that's the moment that you saw it. You didn't see it yesterday. You didn't see it earlier today or later. We're on like, what is it? Almost a dozen Facebook pages. That's just the Facebook pages. That's why we're using the Twitch feed, because we can. And the number of people visiting mastiff.media, I'll put that up there too so you can see that. The number of people now visiting mastiff.media, that's going to crash any day now. The number of you checking that out is awesome. Thank you for visiting. Please let us know. Reach out to us and let us know what you'd like to see on there. What can we better do to provide you with additional information? All right. I think we're working smart and hard. Let me take a break. When we come back, we'll do a little bit of ball busting. Bill Burr versus Ben Shapiro. Right after this. This is Up the Middle on the Mastiff Media Network. We'll be back after these words. What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym. Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training. A dedicated area for stretching, dunk tanks, sauna, everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off, you can scream, you can yell, and you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum at Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Tone Tip. Did you download the Tone Tip app? Please do that. I talked yesterday with a web developer who is giving me the first of a series of proposals. We're not just going to take one and be done, but to develop a website for the project that is Matrix Media. Matrix Media, named after the dog in the other room, and the movies combined is the project between Dare Media and Mastiff Media. That is a database of radio stations just like these, where you can join, your station can be on there, and also subscribe to Tone Tips and be able to send Tone Tips to your listeners. The only directory capable of doing that. Go to tonetip.com and download the app today. We need you. The reason why we need you to download that app is because we don't have our website or an app built just yet. It's coming. I told you we'd be into the Tone Tip by summer. We've been using Tone Tips for an easy 2 months now. So I'm telling you, what I say happens, with the exception of the 2024 election, what I say happens, and our own website and app is coming. But we need to learn what works and what does not work with the Tone Tip app. And I kind of pushed this earlier on in a direction that would have been a lot less than flattering for you guys, for the listeners. Nobody wants another method of receiving commercials. I got to pull this one thing up for the next segment. Nobody wants methods to get more commercials. We will be using this for so much more than sending you the deal of the day. So take my word for that. We've already tested with stuff like that. Whether it's links, I just need the time to do it. It's just me here. Dare Media, when you listen to them later this afternoon, oh, hey, baby. Shady's walking around checking things out. When you listen to them later this afternoon, after Sportcat and after the hour of time in between, and then also this evening, we got, which was it? Mates Helping Mates at 4 and AM Mayhem at 6. Not 6 o'clock tonight. Well, in Australia, it's 4 in the morning and 6 in the morning, Perth time, Western Australia. Add 2 hours for the East Coast. And they send a bunch of really good things out via Tone Tip. I just don't have the opportunity to do it yet. We will. It's coming. I am working hard and smart. Until then, scan the QR code on the screen or go to tonetip.com and download the app. And then let us know what you think by sending any information that you got, any comments, suggestions, things that did and did not work, etc., to info@mastiff.media. I think I need to let a puppy outside. So we got to do a puppy potty break. I will be right back in just a couple of seconds. Be right back, gang. All right, gang. So email what you think of using the tone tip. info@mastiff.media. All right, Bill Burr. It's a couple days old by now, but and I'm seeing a lot of the comments that Bill has on Ben Shapiro. I'm trying to find what Ben Shapiro said. Oh, here's his comment on Twitter. Let's put this up first. And then here's a comment from YouTube from Bill Burr.
I want to ask you about.
All right, so there's that. That's it was on the Young Turks. Go figure. All right, so here it is on Twitter. The comment made by Ben Shapiro.
Or maybe now ex-comedian, is pretty angry at me. Still. Like, he's still angry at me. So,
right.
Bill Burr, the comedian, or maybe now ex-comedian, is pretty angry at me.
Oh, he's
still.
so funny.
Like, he's still angry at me because all the way back in February, if you recall, I said that he had gone woke and he got really sad. That was after he said that the healthcare CEOs of America might deserve to be murdered. So apparently yesterday he did an interview with Vulture, which is a publication that allegedly still exists. And here is what Bill Burr had to say.
Ben Shapiro talked about going to one of your shows and complaining about you becoming woke, which sort of then created this.
He doesn't.
Okay, so that's actually the video clip we're going to play next. How funny is that?
Doesn't even know what that word means.
Let me sum
his definition of woke is white liberals' definition of woke, and they didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
They just took the word from black people.
This is actually true. The number of progressives or liberals or whatever who really don't know what woke means. I think they just think to be woke, you got to agree with everybody else and just tell people that you accept the opinions of others until, of course, you don't. I just got an invite to be on a show tonight. I shouldn't, but I really want to help this guy. The Point with Travis Evans tonight at 8. But he's right. Half the people don't know what woke means. I think conservatives just also use it to lump people together that don't agree with them. Because, I should have thought this out a little bit better. And if I did, I'd have it ready. Let me find my... I'm looking for the screensavers that I put up on my... Are you hearing like a... Yeah, you know what? That crackling again. The guy's coming tomorrow to look at my system. I'm just thinking that at some point, it's not going to work by just, unplugging and plugging back in like I usually do. There it is. There you go. Here's a great definition of woke. Hopefully that did it. All right, so here's a great definition of woke. and try to increase this a little bit. This is from Howard Stern. This is just the clip of it, or the tail end of the entire comment. Blah, 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 whatever, or that I support people who want to be transgender, or I'm for the vaccine. Dude, call me as woke as you fucking want. I'm not for stupidity. I'm woke, motherfucker, and I love it. He started that because I did see another excerpt of it. I don't know where I have it, and I'm not going to try to look for it now. But I did see another excerpt of that where he talks about the opposite of woke is asleep. And no, he's not for a far left, unrealistic social agenda. But he's not for a far right, fascist one either. And that's kind of the point. I'll put that in the show notes as well. Let's go back to Bill Burr. And then I think we got Sportcat.
That's the worst thing about our people is not only do we take from other cultures, we don't even take the time to understand the definition.
Yeah.
He went there to be annoyed so he can then have something to talk about, and then he can make money off of dividing his own country.
Yeah.
Those people, it's treasonous what they do.
Tell me how what he just said there is wrong. Ben Shapiro goes to see Bill Burr at work, at a show. And because of the nature of his comedy, which we talked about this earlier today, let's do the math. It's entertainment. It's show business. Mathematically and logistically and realistically, there aren't going to be as many conservative, more structured people in that industry than there will be creative and flexible and progressive types. It's just what it is. You don't see a lot of flower child people in the army. It's who does what. So Ben Shapiro goes to see his show. And apparently, at some point or another in history, Ben used to think Bill Burr was funny and liked his earlier material. As so many of us do, Bill has become more political, especially in this day and age, when you have Jewish news people like Ben Shapiro supporting what Netanyahu is doing in Gaza. Because he feels he has to. He's a conservative Jew. Toe the line. Goose step right alongside of everybody else. And so now he doesn't like what Bill has to say because it disagrees with him politically. Not to mention the fact that it would probably force him to laugh at himself. Something I do on the daily. I laugh at myself too, but that's irrelevant. So try to see if there's a little bit more of this. We may have just played the next
but
clip too.
but to be fair, or not to be fair, to the fact is that it worked for what his goal is, which is then it became a thing online where then a certain portion of the right complain about how you're woke,
Racists,
and we're racist.
They're racist. Yeah, they send pictures of monkeys to me and my wife. They're horrible people, and they're cowards, and they never say it to your face.
Okay, well, I guess there's more left to this, so I guess Ben has a rebuttal to that. This I actually got to see.
What I'm finding is that people keep trying to categorize what it is that you're doing. Like that idiot Ben Shapiro. No, he's woke now. He's like, I don't. That guy. Someone came to me and goes, "Hey man, you should." He was trying to bring me into his fold. At one point, the guy liked me.
Yeah.
You know, and then when I didn't, then all of a sudden I'm supposed to look at that guy like he's an adult.
Do you feel misunderstood if people take you words one way or the other?
No, I'm not I'm deliberately misunderstood.
Got it.
Okay. A couple quick housekeeping notes there. First, I don't need to pay to go to your comedy show to be annoyed. There's a lot of stuff in the world that annoys me. And typically, I don't shell out hundreds of bucks and then take my wife and my friends to a show in order to be annoyed. I'm sorry, you did a show and a bunch of people didn't laugh in Florida, and then you fussed like a child, and then you walked off the stage. It was really ridiculous, and that's on you, my dude. You probably should.
I didn't know that. I didn't even know he was here. I would have gone to see him. Sorry, my head itches. Any good comedian, and I think Bill Burr's a good comedian. I sat and watched the episode where I forget what the name of the show is, but Bill Maher does this thing where it's like you're just sitting in Bill Maher's living room. I mean, it's a set, but there's these two easy chairs, and there's a coffee table in between them, and usually both are smoking a cigar. Now, I guess some guys don't smoke and they don't, bend that. They just don't smoke. I can sit here and talk with you, but I ain't going to smoke. Usually they both sit there smoking a cigar, and Bill Burr was relentless on Bill Maher, who was able to give it right back. I mean, it's like these two guys are sitting on a porch step in Brooklyn or Boston or somewhere up in the Northeast, Philly, just sitting there busting each other's balls and laughing their asses off in the process. Ben Shapiro is a crybaby. That's what he does for a show. And he doesn't do stuff like working hard versus working smart. He doesn't say happy birthday to his listeners. He puts his book. Oh, that's pathetic. Oh, dude. You wonder why people pick on Jewish people? That's it right there. That's one reason. That's so tacky. And it just supports an unfair and inappropriate stereotype of your people. Oh my God. I hope he's still back there. It's almost 1 o'clock. Holy shit. Sport Cat, you there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Did you message me? I think I heard a beep. I got into it.
You had some crackling, yeah.
Oh, that too. Okay, yeah. He's coming tomorrow.
And I was listening to your show and had a thought.
What is it?
Moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
What the fuck was that?
It's a sound effect. I didn't know we could pass on here. I don't know. I have to look it up.
Breaking news just coming to us now. You're a bitch. Have a nice day.
That's good. You got to teach me how to do that. And we got, so you're on your laptop?
Yeah, I'm on my laptop.
So is that what you use in Atlanta also?
No, I use a home PC.
Okay. Yeah. So how long do you anticipate being in Tennessee?
Probably 2 weeks. Mom left this morning, so she'll be gone for about 2 weeks. So I'm house sitting roughly 2 weeks. It's maybe a little less,
but yeah, you're house sitting. It's not like before where you were helping a family emergency.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So this is likely a more rigid schedule. So what do you want to do? Do you want to put it on? You can have this on your account, your phone account, on multiple devices. Do you want to get together and
yeah, we can do that. That'd be fun. Then I can just transfer it over
put it on your laptop, and then we'll do the same thing when you get back to your desktop.
Yep. And then you've got to answer the burning question about me getting a radio station. So
I'm happy to help you out. What questions? I mean, obviously something.
We had talked about me piggybacking one of yours, and so I don't know
Yeah.
I don't even know what it takes. So,
oh well, that's it's more of it's on my end than yours. I just gotta. There's some things I need to learn from Media CP yet, so there's that too. But yeah, let me. What are you thinking? What kind of format? What are you thinking you want to do?
Oh, I don't know. I've sent some feelers out, so for some shows. So we'll see. It would probably be more news and more paranormal, some comedy. Definitely staying away from music. So
yeah, it's gonna be expensive. I love how they're doing it down in Florida. God love them. They're making it work.
I think I'll avoid that. I'll send everybody to Thin Line Rock Station or Barefoot Radio. So
there you go. You're on Thin Line today too, right?
Yes, I am actually on right now. So
yeah, that's right. So that's a pre-recorded show that Glenn does on the Thin Line Rock Station, where everybody there is a first responder of some sort. So thin blue line, thin red line, thin what else we got? Yellow line, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And green is Army or military.
Yeah, I think it's military. And then I think the white is EMS, maybe, or it's nurses, or maybe it's nurses and EMS. I don't know. So yeah, there's a bunch of them.
I think red is fire and ambulance.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yellow is dispatcher.
Correct.
And yeah, I didn't know about white. That's a good one.
I think white is nurses. And
okay.
I'll have to look it up. They may be royal blue. I don't know. We'll see. I have to look it up.
It's like everybody's goddamn gays now. All of a sudden, we all got our own rainbow flag.
You know, it's funny you say that.
What
because I don't know if you've seen the patch I made up. That one of the projects I got is I'm going to start promoting them and giving them out and doing it. And I gave one to my son when he was here for the funeral, and he looked at me. He goes, "When did you start supporting gays?" I'm like, "What?" He goes, "The flag. That's a rainbow flag." And I'm like, "No, it's not. It's the thin blue line, thin red line." He goes, "Look at all those goddamn colors." He goes, "That's a gay flag." He's like, "Now you're going to go burn them, aren't you?" And I'm like, No, I'm not. But thanks.
You're just going to give them all to me.
Yeah. So not that I have anything against gays. I really don't. But it was just funny the way he went off on me. So I'm already a sexist, a racist. Now I'm a homophobic. So just add another one in there.
When did you become a sexist? I missed that.
I always thought I was. So because I like boobs.
Okay.
Well, if you like boobs and you got great genes and you fit in them really nice, I'll grab that ass. I ain't gonna lie about it. So
yeah. And then racist and what else?
I might as well add homophobic to it now. So
yeah. Why not?
Why not? Hey, maybe I could start a flag for all those.
Yeah. I had a detective tell me one time that he's not prejudiced. He hates everybody equally.
Exactly. That's what I was going to tell you when you were talking about woke. I said, well, I woke up pissed off, but that's nothing new.
All right. Sportcats Daily Gazette is up next. I'll give you the radio.
Yep. I got to hit that button. So let me know when you're ready. And I programmed in the new stuff. All right. So I'm pushing a button and I don't know if I took the other ones out yet. So let's see. So it says I am connected to Dare Talk Radio. Hello, Australia. Ford Radio. I'm still connecting Mastiff Media, but I am connected to Radio X. Hello and good morning on Radio X. And I have failed on all my others. I'm only connected to Dare Talk and Radio X. Everything else I have failed on. I'm a failure. So
even the new one that I sent you yesterday.
Yeah, hold on. Let me make sure I got it up here. Yeah, you're streaming. Yeah. I'm not connected. I didn't know why.
Let me test it now. Make sure that it works. I don't know why it wouldn't, but because it's from the same system. that we did before. But
I'll take all these others out. And
yeah, I got to do it too.
Yeah, I'm going to disconnect everybody real quick. Be right back here. And then I'm going to reconnect to see if that does anything since. All right, so I'm connected. Dare Talk Radio. Hello. And I didn't check to put a connect to those. Why is it trying? Yeah, and now I failed at all of them. Why did it do that? Apply. Maybe I got to close this window. Let's try that and see what happens. And let's disconnect there for a minute. Be right back. Radio stations that are listening to the sound of my voice. Or maybe I'm not disconnecting. Why? What is going on here? There we go. All right, let's try this again. Options, preferences, live broadcasting. All right, so I'm connected to Dare Talk. I'm connected to Radio X, but I have failed at Jurg's streaming.
Okay, I'll test that, and I'll get back with you during.
Okay, all right.
Message.
Well, you can just tell all the listeners on Jurg's Radio to come over and find me at either Radio X or Dare Talk, or if they want to, they can come over to the Sportcat shows on YouTube.
Yeah, that's the easiest. I used to have that up here too. Where are you?
I'm right here. Where are you?
No, I mean, I thought I had another thing. I thought I had another bottom thing for you, Glenn Sport, Daily Sports. I thought it also had. Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. At Paranormal Guys, or search Sportcat on YouTube.
Sportcat shows. Sportcat shows. So make sure to get that in there. All right. Well, I got to go live because my chat's already booming. Yeah, just figure that out on your radio, and we'll
all right.
make it.
Yep. We'll get it fixed.
All right, brother. I will talk to you soon.
Good show. All right.
All right.
Yep. All right, everybody. So that's also it for us. Sportcat's got it. And, we still got the whole puppy thing going across the bottom. Take that off. I hear some thunder out back. Yeah. So as I've shown you before, I'm working smart. I got to have a quick lunch, get the dogs taken care of. Got some edits to do. Media CP to fix, Sportcat show to fix, and lots. So I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for getting off the porch and running with the big dogs and going with us up the middle. See you again.